30 amp to 50 amp adapter. And again, I'll show you how to pull it.
Let me call her. She tried to call me too.
Who was it? Your
My
mom? Oh.
This is the motor for the electric lift. We'll come back around to that.
Yep.
Spare tire, if you want to give it a thump every once in a while. Wouldn't be a bad idea to have a cover on it just so that the sun doesn't eat away at it and crack it.
Right,
It'll last
yeah.
a lot longer. Hot water heater here, there's a couple things about the hot water heater that you should know. If the hot water heater is bypassed or empty and accidentally get turned on, it will overheat rather rapidly. If that happens, there's 2 reset buttons right here that you just need to push in.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, and that'll reset it if it overheats. As far as draining, here's your drain here. It's an 1/16 socket. You'll just basically unscrew that. Before you unscrew that, you want to be sure to relieve any pressure in the hot water tank using this valve here.
Okay.
The hot water creates pressure in the system, and that'll come shooting out at you, and it's at a rather bad height for that to happen. So
Yeah. Stand off to the side.
Yep. On the back side of that is an anode rod that's about this long, and it sacrifices itself to the acidity of the water, so the water doesn't eat away at the pipes in the tank and things like that. So it'll have to be replaced periodically. Again, when we walk through the parts department, I'll show you what to look for.
What's the typical lifespan on those?
Depends on how much you use it.
How often it's wet?
I think I've replaced mine once every 3 years or so.
Okay.
It's also a good idea when you're done camping and you're putting it in storage, even if it's just going to be a couple weeks, drain your hot water tank, drain your fresh water tank, because that
Yeah.
water gets really nasty if it sits
Right.
in there for too long. So.
Yep.
The outdoor speakers, you want to be very careful. The outdoor speakers, had a customer told me a story. I was there in a big fifth wheel with a 50-inch TV, and they were watching Jurassic World, and all of a sudden there was a beat on the door, and he opens up the door. He's like, "Can I help you?" He's like, "You're watching Jurassic World, aren't you?" He's like, "How did you know?" He's like, "Your outdoor speakers are on the entire campground knows you're watching Jurassic World." So, I'm show you how to work those. So just be aware that they will disturb your neighbors at risk. Porch light, amber collects less bugs than a clear light does, so they give you amber light. Your 110 outlets here, so you can plug anything outside. This is where you're going to plug in your pink flamingo lights that you attach to the wall. Gotta have the pink flamingo.
Yes.
lights.
Especially if you're from Florida like I am.
Right.
Gotta have the flamingos.
I love the pink flamingo lights. The cassette toilet is going to be this 301 key. 2 keys to choose from. Anytime there's a 50-50 chance of getting something right, there's an 80% chance you're going to get it right.
Yep.
This is the remote for the roof. We'll plug that in here in just a couple minutes. And this is the cassette toilet. So basically, this is the waste bin. When you plug it in and open up the lid on the inside, this door opens. It opens the flap to let everything pass through. To drain it, you'll flip this out, push this button down, and drain it down. To fill the tank, you want to put fresh water in here and put your chemicals in here, and put fresh water in this system. Just take this cap off. And if you can, just pour water in there, or there is a little funnel here to make it a little bit easier to put the water in.
Oh, cool.
And then there's an indicator here to let you know how full the tank is.
So, is this like a gooseneck? What purpose does that serve again?
This
Yes.
is where you put the water in. So you
Does
put clean water in here, then that'll flush when you flush the
Oh,
toilet,
okay.
that's where the water
So that's water supply for the flush.
Yeah.
Okay.
tucks in there nice and tight.
I'm assuming we'll have to purge that if we winterize it.
Just dump all the water out of it. Just using
Okay.
the button inside, just flush that tank out.
Till it runs dry. Okay.
Another drain outlet here, but I'm assuming for a shower. Is there a shower in this unit? I haven't opened it up yet.
Yes.
So that's probably what that's going to be. So again, you may need a second bucket unless you want to just keep swapping buckets every time, you switch from the sink to the shower. So. And then we have the latch. The awning, we can set it up if you want, but it's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to unroll. The arms are going to fall out of it. They're going to plug into these to prop it up or onto the ground. And there should be some stakes on the inside too, so you can actually tie it down.
So open it up, basically let it fall down, stretch it out, and then poke in the rod ends.
And
And
the legs are all rolled up into it, so pretty self-explanatory once you open it. And you want to do that before you before you raise the roof. You want to get to it,
right,
so it's not
get it out.
10 feet in the air.
Exactly. It's just attached on a track.
Yeah.
Now this is a brand new unit. The wheels were torqued at the factory. We retorqued them during our pre-delivery inspection. Recommend having them retorqued in about 100 miles.
Okay.
Just pulling a Les Schwab, or if you have a torque wrench, about 105 foot-pounds, about all it takes.
Sorry, Bobby. Where did you put the vanilla when you used it?
And then these legs pop down, go into those bolts, and then just if you give it a little bit of shoulder,
Slide it in place.
pops right in.
So, do we put the scissor jacks down before we pop up the beds or after?
Before you want to make it as stable as possible.
Okay.
So the scissor jacks are just there for stabilization. They're not there for leveling. Keep that in mind. If you try to lift the side of this thing, they may bend, and warranty will never cover a bent jack. So, but yeah,
Good to
once
know.
when you get into your parking spot, this first thing you're going to want to do is level it side to side with your level, front to rear with the nose jack. Then put your stabilizer jacks down, just hard enough to touch the ground. Keep it stabilized.
Okay.
And then set everything up. So.
Okay. Just checking.
I do want to lower one of these just in case the three of us end up in the back of it. It could tip over.
Did he just call us chunky?
No, it's all me.
Couldn't be us.
It's funny, before I got this job for 9 years, I had a desk job. My first 90 days working here, I lost 20 pounds. From running around. That's all there is to this. And then the inside's pretty full, so this is a great place to store the barbecue right inside the door. Barbecue mount.
Do they make other mounting accessories?
Yeah, I think there's a table, a couple things that you can mount on there. So. You got your quick connect here for the gas for the barbecue. And then it'll slide on. Just like that. Now, if you don't want to attach it to the side of the camper, you can take this and put it on a picnic table upright like that, and then slide the rails into here. You're standing on a picnic table if you don't want to turn off the screen. And these little pins will lock it on, so nobody can activate. There's the hose. The grease drip tray will slide in down here. And I'd recommend getting one of those long lighters.
Yeah.
Get this
Stick
one.
lighters.
I don't think I'll cook along the side of this. I just see a flare up happening and then I have no canvas.
Not the window.
Yeah. Just, it doesn't seem like a good idea.
Two steps in. First thing you do when you want to get in is lift up your galley. One thing about the galley is there's a safety switch back here. So nothing in the ceiling will work if your galley is down. So there's that little switch that'll get depressed when we lift the galley up. So if nothing in your ceiling is working, it's the first thing you want to check is that.
Make sure it's seated.
Oh, look at that.
Come down. And let's go outside and pull the slide out. got all the Velcro here to strap all this down, keep the wind and bugs out. There's bungee cords here that wrap underneath to each other to keep this on pretty tight. Okay. So underneath the mattresses is usually where we store the poles. The small ones for the kitchen. Just plug in there. And then if you want to do that side, the pole should be underneath there.
Gotta aim between the two screws.
Yeah, I did, but it
And then the door can sometimes be a little challenging. Let's see how well they do.
Oh, they lubed those up for us. How nice.
This one's going to be on its best behavior. And voila. And then the outside door, the little door actually lifts straight off, and there's a spot to hang it underneath this bed.
Oh, really?
So you can just get out of it.
Oh, the little door comes off?
What?
Oh, that's cool. Because they just showed us how to pin it to the side. I didn't know it came off.
Oh, maybe I'm. Oh, I think.
Did you lie?
Like I lied.
He over promised and under delivered right there.
I suppose. Yeah, it's riveted on here.
Yeah.
It's got this snap on.
We were impressed for just a few minutes.
Yeah, it's alright. Sorry.
Haha, not an option on yours, sorry.
Some of them they just come up.
That's fine.
That would have been cool.
You want to get air in here? So glue.
Well, they did try to clean that up a little bit, didn't they?
Oh, this is a different one.
Yeah.
That looks a lot better than the other one we saw.
Oh, and the toilet's not broken like it was at the show.
This is a different one.
I know. I'm just saying, it's handy.
Your water pump switch is here, so you hear it run. I don't know if there's any water in the tank, so it probably won't pressurize.
That's on. That works.
Again, it's important that that's turned off and not in use. It's the same style diverter that's on outside showers. And then the toilet. That's gonna be your water from the pressure, and that's gonna
And that's gonna be
be the
opened up.
flush. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Easy peasy.
And then again, your shower drain is gonna go right outside. So.
So did water just go all over outside for you?
No, because I
No,
got
it
the
was-
cap on.
Oh.
Oh, and then the toilet water goes into the toilet tank. So.
Yeah.
A 110 outlet here. All of the 110 outlets, including the one on the outside, are all in a series. So if one quits working, chances are they're all going to quit working. And we'll find the one. There's one that has the GFI button in the middle
Right
of
there.
it. So if the
see the
outlets
light.
quit working, that's the first thing you want to check. Sink water, the stove. Again, it would be a good idea to get one of those long lighters, but I don't like having hair on my knuckles anyway, so I do it the old school way. So just make sure that those two.
Oh, fancy.
Indoor cooking. Now the refrigerator. The refrigerator is like a really good cooler. it's going to keep your food cold 6 to 7 hours. So going down the road, you don't want an open pilot light on the back, on the outside. If you stop to get gas, it could be a problem. Heaven forbid there's an accident, propane lines flipping. So when I go camping, what I do is I start my refrigerator 2 days before I go in the coldest setting. The night before we go, we pack it full of food, and then just before I hit the road, last thing I do is shut my refrigerator off and turn the propane bottle off and hit the road. If I'm going to be on the road for more than 6, 7 hours, I'll pull over and fire up the refrigerator and propane for an hour or two while we get ready to eat, just let everything cool back down. So, but yeah, you don't want to go down the road with that with the propane on. Just inside the door here, it's going to be your entry light switch. So you can light that up in the dark, find the rest of the lights. The fire extinguisher is always right by the door. Let a few accessories in here. It's going to be the hose for the outdoor shower. And the jack for the emergency jack for the crank of the roofs. Stereo system here. It's going to be the balance and fader control is what's going to
Out and in.
outdoor speakers or indoor speakers. The thermostat is here. There's a little switch in the upper right hand corner that's very difficult to flip. They do that on purpose. It's kind of like a child safety device. And then your temperature control is going to be down here.
And does that always run on propane?
Yep.
Okay.
The heater is propane. So we'll see if we can get the kick off here. This is your LP detector, a propane leak detector. If there is a propane leak, that's going to start screaming at you like a smoke alarm.
Oh, good.
You know, the smoke alarms, there's one in here somewhere. Inevitably, 2 o'clock in the morning when the battery dies in your smoke alarm at home, it starts to chirp at you. This is going to do the same thing if the batteries on the nose of the trailer get low. It's directly wired to the trailer. So if it starts chirping at you, you need to find a way to get those batteries charged. But if it does start blaring, you want to unzip windows, open the door, turn the poker, get out.
Is there a CO detector in here?
Yeah, there. We'll find it. Yeah, there should be one. Okay,
Just so when we hear that chirping, we know how to find it.
Right. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, I can smell the propane.